Hello, my name is Will with NetApp, and today we'll be taking a brief look at Azure NetApp Files and using NetApp Cloud Sync as a vehicle for getting data into Azure NetApp Files. So let's get started. So our setup today is very straightforward in that we're using as our source an AWS Elastic File Services Mount, EFS, and that is what we're showing here today on the screen. So our mount point for our EFS mount is 10.0.1.227 listed here in our VPC. And we are connecting our AWS environment to our Azure environment by way of an IPsec VPN. So we're using an appliance inside of our VPC to create that connection, and we're doing that here. This is our connection from our environment inside of AWS over to Azure. And our Azure environment has, again, on the other side, all the connectivity for that session by way of a virtual network gateway and a connection back over to AWS. We also have configured Azure NetApp Files inside of our preview portal that we're showing here. And in this case, we've configured a NetApp Files account, which is simply a container we use to store all the relevant information about Azure NetApp Files in terms of capacity, export, exports, snapshots, all that good stuff that make up your Azure NetApp Files service. So in this case, we have our account created. We also have a capacity pool that's been provisioned here. And also we have a volume we're going to use for landing that data inside of Azure NetApp Files, which is this volume here, EFS target 01. Here is the mount point. And we are going to now use Cloud Sync as a way to grab that data and create a sync relationship between that data and our data set inside of Azure. So what we're going to do first is go into Cloud Sync, which can be found at cloud.netapp.com. That'll redirect you over here to Cloud Sync, which is where we are now. We're going to go through and select AWS EFS as our source and an NFS server as our target, and we'll choose Continue. In this case here, we'll go ahead and select our EFS server. It's an existing configuration, so I'll just pick that, hit Continue. We use a NetApp data broker to handle the transfer of data from our source to our target. Now, I already have one deployed inside of Azure now, which is Cloud Sync Broker 01. It's already deployed inside of Azure, has a internal IP address. So that's all good. We'll hit Continue. And we'll select our root of our export here, choose Continue. We'll also select our mount point for our Azure NetApp Files, which is this IP address here. You can correlate this back over to our mount point here. You can see the IP addresses are the same. Right here, select that guy, choose Continue. And now we'll go through and select our target volume, EFS target volume 01, and choose Continue. And this will give you a nice graphical representation of what we're doing. So we're going to take from our source, our EFS data on our export. We're going to transfer that data through our data broker over into our Azure NetApp Files target volume, and we'll choose Create Relationship. And we'll let that process run. And we can view that in the dashboard. And this will show over here that process running. So this will start our synchronization of our data. And what's happening in the background is the Cloud Sync broker is going to grab all the data. In this case, we have 9 files at our source, replicates those over to our target. Okay, so in our depending on how much data you have, it will dictate how fast this data process copy goes. And again, we're going over a VPN tunnel here, so just for our demo purposes. This is just about finished at 99%. Okay, now our synchronization is completed. So now to access that data inside of our export, we can now go over to our terminal. Now I'm already on an Azure IaaS instance. I have mounted that EFS target volume. So it is here. If I do a mount command, you can see that volume. Here's our mount point. Here's our volume. There's our mount point on our host here, mounted via NFS. So now if I go over to that volume and do an ls, now I can see there's my subdirectory from my EFS volume. And here's my files that I brought over. So in this case here, we just grabbed some ASCII art. I'm a big fan of using ASCII art because looking at text files with a bunch of words doesn't really translate well into a demo, but showing things like Vader is there. So there's my content. I've got my Ghostbusters content here as well. Who are you going to call? I've also got a picture of some mountains and George Washington, just to mix it up. There we go. All right, good deal. So real quick, what we'll do here is we'll take a snapshot of that data. Can go through here to my snapshots underneath EFS target 01. I'll choose add snap and we'll create a snapshot. Okay, and let's just add one more. Okay, so we'll have two snapshots of that target volume of our EFS data. Refresh that. So our snapshots are online. So we'll go back into our file system. So we go to our .snapshot directory. We see we can access that data. Snap 01 and Snap 02 are online. So I can go into Snap 01 and access that data from here as well. So I can do some really cool stuff like now I can go into the root of my volume. I can go into my data center subdirectory. I can go through here and just remove it all. All that data is now gone. So now I can go into my .snapshot directory. I'm just going to copy that data out of my snapshots. And put all that data right back where it was. Okay, and there's my data. Okay. All right, so we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for watching. Again, this was a video showing data synchronization using NetApp Cloud Sync from an external source, in this case, an EFS volume, over to our Azure NetApp Files volume using the Cloud Sync broker inside of Azure.